to the First Home Show podcast, created for first home buyers. I'm your host, Melissa Barlas. I'm a property lawyer, owner and founder of Conveyed, and I've been a first home buyer myself. In this podcast, I'm going to show you in up to 10 short-minute increments what you need to know as a first home buyer, and I'll share with you all of my legal tips on how to purchase your first home successfully. Don't go it alone in the property market. We at Conveyed are here for you. Hello, welcome to the next episode of the First Home Show. I am Melissa Barlas. I'm the owner and director of Conveyed, and I'm really excited to do this episode because it is somewhat of a continuation of the previous episode, because in the last episode we talked about when to make an offer, a price offer in the market, which I encourage you to listen to that podcast listen to that podcast episode first before listening to this one, because I do talk about considerations that you actually need to take into account before making a price offer. So that's the first thing to do. But assuming you've done that, we're now going to start talking about how to make an offer, not just when, but how. What is the safest way, and how do you negotiate it with the agent? Very, very good tips that I'm going to give you in this episode, which I've learned from many experienced buyers advocates that I've had the pleasure of working with or knowing. So let's say you've reached a stage where you've prepared to make an offer. You've attended your open for inspection. You've arranged a building and pest inspection to check the structural integrity of the property. You've compared the sale price of the property to other properties in the area, and you understand the property sale history that for the property that you're interested in buying. So now you are absolutely ready to negotiate, and you've got your pre-approval on your finance as well. So before negotiating, just make sure you're prepared to negotiate. So your initial offer should leave some room for a counter offer from the seller. Never start with your final offer because you have nowhere to go. Maybe the only exception to that is if it's like super, super, super competitive, where you have to put your best foot forward, sort of first in, first dress. But your offer should also really align with your budget. So don't put yourself in a financial squeeze just to secure a property, and make sure that you have a fair and reasonable offer that aligns with your budget so that you can actually afford what you set out to buy. The next point I want to make is to try and emotionally detach yourself from the property when it comes to negotiating price. Falling in love with a property is absolutely natural, right? You love the property, you've been through it, it looks amazing, it's perfect for your needs, but don't let emotions dictate your actual price offer. So keep it rational and logical based on your due diligence that I've already described and the data. And again, refer to the previous episode of the podcast and you'll understand what I'm referring to. So the next thing is just state the property that you're willing to pay, maybe even pay a $1,000 holding deposit to show that you're really serious about buying if the price is right. You know, specify when you're making an offer, specify any conditions that must be met for the sale to proceed, such as a satisfactory building and pest inspection, or, making the contract subject to you getting formal loan approval, or making the contract subject to the sale of another home that you have, if that applies. Whatever the contingencies are, they need to be in the contract. Otherwise, they don't apply. And you've basically bought the property without any contingencies or safety nets to protect you. No safety net exit clauses that you need whatsoever. So just make sure you're negotiating those contingencies when you state the price offer. And that takes me to my next point. Only include contingencies in your offer if you really, really need them. If, for example, you have the savings to cover most of your purchase price, or you have family helping you with a large deposit, and both you and your mortgage broker are super confident that you'll get the loan formally approved. You've crunched the numbers together, your financial character looks amazing, and you've got a good credit history. In that instance, it may be worthwhile submitting an unconditional offer, for example, with no contingencies, because you're unlikely to need them. An unconditional offer is what the vendor is hoping for, and puts you ahead of the rest who have given themselves a few exit clauses from the transaction. In some instances, a vendor will choose to transact with a buyer that has provided an unconditional offer at a lower price than a conditional offer at a higher price, believe it or not, because they have more certainty that with you that the transaction is actually going to go ahead and that they're going to get their sale proceeds at the end of the day. So please note, just following from that, this is not legal advice in any way, and you should actually get advice from a very seasoned and experienced buyer's advocate and a property lawyer before buying to know if an unconditional offer is the right approach to you. A buyer's agent that's experienced is going to very much put you in good stead because they're the ones that deal with the negotiations. They can help, create a really great looking offer for the vendor, and so they can properly advise you if an unconditional offer is what you need at any point in time. So if you do need a recommendation to a buyer's advocate, please let me know and I can do that for you. So at this stage, you've worked out the terms of your offer. Let's say you've done that. And now you need to craft your offer more carefully. So perhaps you can include a date that your offer expires. Maybe you can say that your offer is open for 24 hours. So it actually creates a sense of urgency for the vendor to come back to you and actually close the deal. Tell them when you'd like to close the deal by. If you want to include any other items in the transaction, like goods, like white goods and appliances that you see at an open for inspection, now is the time to ask for it. Include it in your offer and ensure it goes actually into the contract in black and white before you sign. If you're using a lender, provide details about your lender and the type of loan you're securing and how likely you'll secure the loan. This is especially important if you're making a contingent offer. The last point I want to make is that whilst timing the offer is important, just don't rush to make an offer without proper due diligence. We've talked a lot about due diligence in the last episode of the First Home Show, in fact, quite a few episodes. And it takes time. So make sure you really do your homework and let the data and the findings speak for themselves. If the deal doesn't meet your conditions or price range in any way or your budget, be prepared to walk away. It's actually okay. And there's so many other opportunities out there. And you know what? It may even be an omen that there is something else better for you in the property market. And to wrap things up, effective negotiation is actually a skill, and it can make all the difference in securing the right property at the right price. So if you're needing a buyer's advocate to help you with that, they are worth the money. They take back your money, your time and your money, because sometimes they can get deals that can get you 50 grand less than what you would have paid if you tried to negotiate yourself, for example. So they're absolutely worth every cent. And remember, negotiating is a process, and being well prepared and strategic can actually help you achieve a successful outcome. And with that, the episode is done. That's it for today's episode of the First Home Show. If you have any questions or you need any further guidance on price negotiations or any other real estate matters, if you're needing an introduction to a mortgage broker or a buyer's advocate, please feel free to reach out to us through our website, www.convey.com.au. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode of the First Home Show. Happy house hunting.